guys, welcome back. So we're gonna do a little play with my new Neo 1, excuse me. Ugh. So I have had the metallic version of these, the metallic set, for some time now, and I've been wanting to try some more, so I finally got some more. And if you hear the birds, the crows and stuff, they are being super noisy right now. I don't know. Sorry about that. But yeah, the Neos come in the 15, the 10, and I think the 30 might be the full set. And then there's a metallic set, which is what I've had. You can do some really fun things with these. So, I mean, this is how they come, at least this set. But what I want to show you today, and I think I paid, if I'm not correct, I paid $25.95 on Amazon for these, which, you know, it's a little pricey, but the full set is around 56, 57, and that's for like 30. I think that's a full set. So if I can get the thing open, oh gosh. Oh, there we go. As you can see, I already had a small play with them. The metallics, here, I'll get out the metallics. These are the metallics. I don't have the box anymore, but aren't they pretty? These are, I got two of these this one, but these are the metallics. There's the pretty gold. There's that one. I mean, they're really nice. And the silver. And then like a copper. And then the blue. So this is the set I had previously. I would show you some fun ways that you could play around with these. Just a couple. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to, one of my favorite pan watercolor. And if you see a ring, I apologize. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is one of my favorite watercolor sets. I have pan and I have, you know, tube watercolor. And I really like this set. They're very pigmented. The set's not expensive, but either way. So let's pull this out. And the watercolor paper that I'm playing around with is just from Michaels. It's just their Artist Loft brand. Nothing terribly expensive. You know, just something cheap. It's not 100% cotton. It's made from wood pulp, which is why it's less expensive. But it's good for when you're just having to play with stuff, you know. So what I'm going to show you is something really fun. I'm going to take, let's see. So you can see it. I'm going to take, I'll take my brown, and this is my ochre, sorry, from my new Neo 1 set, and I'm just going to draw a simple egg with it. You don't want to go too heavy, but you do want to be consistent, and if you get a little dust, just blow it away. Don't smudge it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, you want to be cognizant of where your Neo 1 is going, and you'll see why in a minute. You'll have to excuse my freehand drawing skills, leave a lot to be desired. That is something that I am working on. I don't know how much that looks like an egg, but there we go. So And you see how I've got to fix that, because you'll see why in a minute. I'm going to go back over this. Okay. Now I'm going to take my brush here and just kind of lightly get rid of that. Now I've got my thing set up. So what you're going to do is take your other Neo 1's, and you can use these lovely metallic ones here if you want, if you have them. For me, I'm just going to start here. And like I said, my freehand skills, y'all, leave something to be desired, so I hope you'll bear with me. It is not my forte. Oh, and I think, you know what? I think I'm going to fill these in. I wasn't going to do that, but I think I'm going to fill these in. So when you decide to fill them in like this, make sure you fill them in. If you understand what I mean. Make sure you get them all the way filled in. It really does matter. Sorry, my cat is being a pain. Felix! I mean, he's 20 months, so he's like a teenager. Let's see. Make sure that you fill it in all the way. Get all the little holes filled in. Okay. Let's try a different one. I'm gonna do the orange one, and I'm just going to do some wavy. Like I said, this is nothing that will win me, you know, any art award of the year, but it will show you what I'm talking about. And we're having fun. That's the main thing. We're having fun. We're not trying to win Artist of the Year. We're just having fun. Sometimes art is not necessarily about, is it the greatest? Is it the best? It's just having fun. So, and while you're having fun, I hope you will consider giving this a like, and I welcome any comments you may have, both constructively and otherwise. You know, let me know if you have tried these and what you think. I would love to know. Okay, so I make sure I've got all my little holes filled in. I'm going to brush that away. Okay, ta-da. So let's try one more color. We'll go for something bright here. How about something like a radio wave, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Now, the nice thing is when you're doing stuff like this, if you kind of don't like what you did, you can fix it. Watch, I'll show you. See how I'm kind of not crazy about how that came out. So I'm just going to go in and fix it. That did not really go according to plan. So I'm just going to fix it. And by the way, you don't necessarily have to use watercolor. You can use like Neo 2's or other water soluble crayons. I'm just using my watercolor because it will demonstrate My purpose is a little better for this. So let's get that out of the way. Now you got to decide, is that, you know, what you want? Are you happy with it? I know it's kind of rough, but let's see. I think I'm gonna do one more at the top here, just a straight over. All right, let's brush all the little crumbsies away. Make sure, double check to make sure you got everything there. Now you're gonna get, if you're happy with what you did, and I think I'm actually going to do, no, wrong color. Yeah, I'm gonna put in some, whoops, and I'm gonna break my Neo 1. Wow. I'm going to put in some dots, I think. I like some dots. Yeah, I want some dots. Okay, gently just swoosh that away. Double check to make sure you're happy with whatever you did. Now, here's where the magic comes in. I think I gotta fix this. Now, if you're actually totally unsure, you can take your stencil right here. If you're absolutely unsure about, you know, if you filled in the holes, take your Gamsol, which is a mineral spirit that you can get just about anywhere in any art shop. Dab it on and your Q-tip, and just dab it on I did a tutorial, by the way, on Gamsol, no big deal, and just kind of blend it like this gently with the Gamsol, and that will make sure that you have all your holes filled in. Now if you use a different color, make sure you change the Q-tip in. Just gently dab it in there and dab it on like a cloth or paper towel first. And this will ensure that all your holes are filled in. You don't need a lot though, a little goes a long way. There. I think we have it covered. So this is the thing that I used. It does have a slight smell, but not too bad. Okay, now that that's done, let's brush away any of our crumbs. I am not happy with that. Hold on one second, guys. Now, if you get a little spot like that, just get out your little battery-operated eraser and just gently and gently just kind of go like that. Make sure you clean your eraser head off though afterwards, like on a piece of paper or something like that, because it might have remnants of the Neo 2 or Neo 1 on it. I keep saying 2. Sorry. Okay. So I'm happy with this now. I'm going to take my watercolor and I got to decide what color do I want the main part of the egg to be. And in this case, I think I'm going to go, since I have a lot of primary colors going on here, I think, I think I'm going to go with purple. I don't know, purple? What do you guys think? Let's see. This is the swatch. So, let's see. Hey. Got the yellow. Yeah. I think that purple will be nice. Yep. I like it. And that's why it's really important when you have sets like this to have this little swatch card. This came with it. And pop it in the comments if you would like me to do a review and a re-swatching of these on some like watercolor paper. I would be more than happy to do that. As you can see, it's been well used and well loved. The colors are absolutely amazing. So, but let's get back to the Neo 1's. So I'm going to grab my palette, and I'm going to drop some paint onto the pan and let it kind of activate for a second. You never want to just go right in with your brush, wet or dry, to a pan pastel, because you will dig into it. You gotta just, you know, give it a few seconds to kind of activate with the water. So now that I've done that, I'm going to get my water here, or my water, this. You don't want to dig too hard into the pan either. That should be enough. So we're just going to get a little water. And that should be more than enough. This is where the magic happens. Let me put this aside here. So, watch this. Make sure you guys can see this. How is that for something cool? Now, what you want to do is rinse out your brush, or get a Q-tip. You could do either. I think a Q-tip actually would be better. I'm thinking about it. And just kind of... go over it a little bit. And be sure you don't use the Q-tip that had the Gamsol dipped in it. That was dipped in. You don't want to do that. You definitely do not want to do that. Look at that. How cool is that? Right? You see that water is going everywhere but where I put that Neo 1. Now, you can do this with pretty much any... Neo 1 is simply an oil-based crayon. You could do the same thing if you, like, say you don't have Neo 1s. You, like, say you have, I don't know, Sergeant Art, for example. You could do the same thing. This is one of my Sergeant Art crayons. Or if you had King Art. Although I would recommend this kind of a pastel. You can use the ones that are a little softer. It works too. I recommend these harder ones, though, because you can do more detail with them than you can the softer crayons. These, you know, I couldn't really, I would have a lot more dust and stuff, you know, sort of getting everywhere, a lot of, you know, dust from the crayon if I used one of the softer ones. So that's why, like, the Neo 1s and this type of oil pastel crayon, the harder kind, are better for this kind of little craft. I don't have to sweep away as much debris, if that makes any sense. But yeah, look at that. And you just let it dry, leave it alone. And I mean, it's something great. Your kids could do it if they're, you know, a little bit older. You could have your 5-year-old could do this. If you get your 5-year-old and get them, just, these are not expensive. Like the Sergeant Arts are definitely a little bit cheaper, and you could do the same thing. Get your 10-year-old and just let them, you know, draw something like an egg or whatever they want to draw, and then get them a, you know, a cheap little artist watercolor set. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, you know. I wouldn't be making the super cheap stuff, but you know, it doesn't have to be as nice as my Shapiran set. It can be a little less expensive, and just make sure that they, you know, sweep away the little debris, because there will be a little bit, and just let them do what I just did. They would have a blast. I had fun. And while it's nothing fancy, I had a lot of fun making it, you know, and that's, you know, sometimes that's the whole point of it, is just to have fun, right? So now I'm going to put these back in here. That'll mix them up. I want to get the full set. I do. I love these. Now, the other thing you can do, like say you want to do some sky, okay? So I'm going to move these over a little bit. Move that over. Make sure you guys are in here. Okay, so like say you have some sky. Now you have your white. Now what you want to do is get yourself a sharpener. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a border separating the egg and the crayon. I think I'm going to use my white one so that it's not visible. So we're just gonna, that way I don't have to worry about it going onto my egg. Okay, that should do it. Now what you want to do is sharpen this, especially with a stencil like this. Well, that's if, you know, you can get the label off first. They have the little grooves. I don't know if you can see that, but there's little tongues right there that you just, makes it easier for you just to peel off like that. There are two ways you can sharpen these things. The Neo 1s and the Neo 2s. There's two ways. You can use something like this, which is like a crafting knife, and these are replaceable, by the way. Or you can just use a little 2-hole sharpener like this. This has a lid somewhere, but Michael's like, I don't know, $2-3. Now, if you decide to use something like this, what you can do, I'm gonna pull this, oops, hold on. And you can either do it this way, which I recommend, because that way you can save the shavings. Okay, so that's nice and sharp. I'm gonna set those shavings aside and mark up my desk while I'm at it. Okay, so you just take your desk. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today. Let's see, I gotta decide which one I'm gonna use. I think I'm gonna use this one. And you just do an outline. That's why you want it sharp. And sometimes you have to be careful, because if the outline is delicate like this one is, you have to be careful, because it, like, especially this part, it will move. So what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to do that center part. I'm not going to do that part at all. I'm just going to skip it, because I'm just going to fill it in anyway for this purpose. Hopefully you guys can see. Okay, good. I'm not even going to do that part. I'm just going to skip it. I'm gonna fill that in. Okay, so now you have to look to make sure that you fill in the spots thoroughly. I'm just making sure that I have it, oops, filled in appropriately. Hold on a second, I've got some dust. I see it's blue dust. All right. Yeah. Now, one of the things is if something like what that just happened, you can take your blue crayon and do a little line. In fact, I think I'm going to put this back on. I'll show you something. Make sure I have it back in the right spot. Okay, there we go. Oops, wrong pencil. There. That's always a good idea when you're using a stencil like that, just especially when you're doing white on white. So it kind of gives you an idea of where you've been. Now, I think I'm gonna go a little extra here. Now, what I'm going to do is take my white and go back over it. And swish it a little so that it blends. Now, I'm also going to take my Gamsol and one of my pointed Q-tips. I highly recommend these, by the way. Great for detail. Dab it on my towel. Just give it a little blend, just so it looks pretty. Prettier than that egg, I think. Maybe. I thought that would be something fun that maybe somebody could do with their kids, just, you know, because it's really fun to, though you saw how it totally repels the watercolor. It's really fun. Now, I'm going to grab a clean end. Because I do want this to be nice and soft. I don't want it to be too harsh. This is another way you can blend with Neo 1's. It's pretty fun. I think that looks pretty good, don't you? Okay, so now we take our watercolor, and I'm going to get some on the palette. Now that we have some on the palette, this is a, light blue type color. Watch this. Oops, hold up a second. I almost forgot. Just sweep away any debris. All right. That is really important. Okay. Oops. I apologize for the shine. Oh, sorry about that. Let's try that again. There we go. Sorry about that. Look at that. Ta-da! And you have sky and clouds very easily. And you could go back over that with your white Neotype crayon if you wanted. I would take a clean Q-tip and just kind of, get off some of the excess watercolor. And I mean, if you really wanted to, go in darker, you could. Like, I have... you could add a little more to it if you wanted, just for depth or whatever. I still have lots to learn on watercolor, and I learn more every day, and I am just enjoying it so much. It's been a really fun medium to get into. But you can see it just totally goes right over it. I mean, it just absolutely, it will repel the watercolor. You do want to clean up your watercolor that's on it, because especially if you intend on going back over it, because it can get onto the crayon, and so if you're not careful, you could smear the color wherever. But as you can see, I'm going back over it, and there we go. See, you have instant cloud, and you can go back in with this as much as you need to, or you could go back in with it with another like lighter blue. I mean, there's. And now, say for example, you have, like, say you already did a sky, or you don't want to use a stencil. I would take your white crayon and just freehand it like this, just nice and loose. And of course, being on white paper, it's, you kind of want to just, it's a little harder. And I would take my blue here. There we go. Now what you can do, since this is so subtle, because I didn't put a thick layer, because that is so subtle, you really probably can't see it, but you can see it beading over the water, the Neo 1. When that dries, or after you've picked up the watercolor from it and it dries, you can go back in with, you know, your other pastel crayons or your oil-based crayons, and you can layer on top of that and, you know, make it stand out. So like, say you want to do a sky really quick, just outline your clouds just really roughly, and you know, fill it in if you want with, I could have used the blue and the white together, you know, whatever you want to do your sky, and then, you know, go back in with the Neo 1 crayons or any other your oil-based crayon and layer back into it so that it's a little more pronounced, and that way you've kind of marked where you want your clouds to be, so that when you do your sky, you don't kind of have to think so much about it. You can just kind of concentrate on getting your nice blend of your sky however you want it. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys. I hope you have fun with it. It's a lot of fun playing around with these mixed media things. The Neo 1's are run between $25 and $60. You can get cheaper brands, but I do recommend the harder ones like these versus the super soft ones. These work a little better for this type of thing. They don't create as much dust, you know, product dust. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to play with. You know, like, for example, I'll show you. One day I wanted to do a heart, and I was just playing around, and I wanted to do a broken heart, so I just kind of, because I was feeling sad, and so I kind of did that. And then I took my watercolor and I just went in with it. That's a weird shade of red. What is that? Almost like a carmine, maybe. I have to look on my swatch. But you could see that it holds it in really, really well. Unless, of course, you place it outside of the oil pastel like I just did. You can just rinse it out. Grab another color. Ta-da! And you could create a whole background around that and it won't creep into what you've already set there. It's so much fun. I love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Happy Easter, everyone. Bye.